Good evening. There are moments in life when we encounter people who seek to hurt us. They do it with purpose, with intent. Their actions are deliberate, calculated, and the pain they cause, whether physical, emotional, or psychological, lingers far longer than the fleeting satisfaction they gain from the harm inflicted. The nature of human malice is a deeply unsettling aspect of the human condition, one that challenges our perception of others and our understanding of society. Malice, unlike simple mistakes or misunderstandings, is an intentional desire to cause harm to others, to inflict suffering or pain. It goes beyond the natural human errors we all make and instead reflects a purposeful action to see someone else hurt. This is a disturbing reality because it forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that there are individuals who, for reasons that might be complex and rooted in their own personal pain or insecurities, choose to act out of malice. At its core, human malice stems from a variety of factors. In some cases, it emerges from a place of deep insecurity. A person who feels threatened by another's success, happiness, or achievements might lash out because they feel small or inferior in comparison. The hurt they inflict is often a misguided attempt to diminish the perceived gap between themselves and others, as if bringing someone else down can somehow elevate their own sense of worth. But this is an illusion, and the harm caused is still real. In other cases, malice is driven by unresolved trauma. People who have been hurt in the past, especially in formative years, may carry those wounds with them for a lifetime. When those individuals fail to process their pain, they often project it onto others. The person who was once bullied may grow up to bully, not because they wish to hurt others, but because their own unresolved pain creates a need for control, and that control can only be maintained by keeping others down. They may not even fully recognize that their actions are rooted in their own suffering, but the pattern continues, perpetuating harm from one generation to the next. Another driving force behind malice is jealousy. Jealousy has a way of poisoning the mind, distorting perceptions, and fueling bitterness. When someone sees another person living a life they covet, whether it's a successful career, a loving relationship, or a fulfilling personal achievement, it can provoke feelings of inadequacy and envy. Instead of channeling these emotions into growth or self-improvement, the individual may choose to act maliciously, attempting to undermine the object of their jealousy. This act, again, is not driven by a desire to see the other person suffer for its own sake, but by an internal need to level the playing field, to tear down what they can't have. Then there's the element of power. Malice can often be a manifestation of an attempt to gain or maintain control. For some, hurting others is a means of asserting dominance or maintaining an upper hand in relationships, work environments, or social dynamics. This desire for power can blind a person to the humanity of others, reducing those around them to mere obstacles to be overcome in their pursuit of control. Power, when sought through harmful means, breeds an environment where malice becomes a tool, not just for personal gain, but also for maintaining a sense of superiority and security. We also cannot ignore the influence of societal structures that breed division and animosity. The competitive nature of many social environments, whether it's in the workplace, within family dynamics, or even within political spheres, can encourage a mindset where malice becomes an acceptable or even necessary strategy. When success is seen as a limited resource, when others are framed as threats rather than potential allies, the instinct to harm or bring down those perceived as competition becomes ingrained. It may even be encouraged or justified by cultural norms that glorify winning at any cost. In all these forms, human malice is often a reflection of the fragility of the human psyche. It reveals how vulnerable we are to our emotions, how deeply our past experiences shape our actions, and how easy it is to slip into destructive patterns when we fail to understand or address our own internal struggles. The impact of intentional harm is profound and multifaceted, affecting not just the immediate victim, but often rippling outward to influence relationships, communities, and even entire societies. When harm is inflicted intentionally, it is not just an isolated incident. It carries a weight that extends beyond the moment of injury, embedding itself in the emotional, psychological, and even physical fabric of the person affected. Unlike accidental harm, where there may be an opportunity for reconciliation and healing, intentional harm often creates a deeper, more complex wound that challenges one's ability to trust, heal, and move forward. At the emotional level, intentional harm can be particularly devastating because it carries a deliberate disregard for the victim's well-being. The knowledge that someone chose to hurt you, to cause you pain on purpose, creates a deep sense of betrayal. Trust is a foundational element of all human relationships, and when that trust is violated with malicious intent, it undermines the victim's ability to feel safe, not just with the person who inflicted the harm, but with others as well. The emotional toll is significant, and the victim is left to grapple with feelings of worthlessness, confusion, and fear. It is a form of psychological assault that often leads to lingering self-doubt, a questioning of one's own judgment, and, in some cases, a fear that the world is an unsafe place where people are capable of causing harm without remorse. Psychologically, the effects of intentional harm can extend well beyond the immediate aftermath. For some, the damage is so deep that it impacts their mental health for years to come. The trauma of being hurt on purpose can lead to conditions such as anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. The victim may relive the event over and over, unable to escape the emotional and psychological scars that the harm has left behind. In severe cases, these wounds can alter how they perceive the world, making them more suspicious, more guarded, and less willing to open up to others. The psychological cost of intentional harm is not easily seen on the surface, but it can be devastating, affecting the victim's sense of self-worth, confidence, and overall view of life. The social ramifications of intentional harm are equally far-reaching. In close-knit environments such as families, friendships, or workplaces, the intentional hurt caused by one person can create divisions, fracture relationships, and foster an atmosphere of tension and distrust. When one person intentionally causes harm to another, they not only damage the individual, but also create a ripple effect that affects everyone in that social sphere. Others may feel torn between their loyalty to the person who was harmed and their relationship with the perpetrator. Tensions rise, and a culture of silence or even complicity may emerge, where people either avoid confronting the issue or choose to ignore it altogether. The environment becomes toxic, and the emotional consequences of the harm spread outward, leaving a lasting impact on the entire group. On a more individual level, intentional harm often leaves the victim questioning their own worth and self-esteem. When someone hurts you on purpose, especially someone you trusted, it can lead to a loss of confidence in your own ability to judge people or situations. You may wonder if you somehow deserved the harm or if you could have prevented it. This internalized guilt can exacerbate the emotional injury, creating a cycle of self-blame that hinders the victim's ability to heal. In time, this erosion of self-esteem can lead to an overall sense of powerlessness, making it harder for the victim to reclaim agency over their life and well-being. The harm, thus, doesn't just affect the victim in the immediate aftermath. It shapes their perceptions of themselves and their future. creating a lingering shadow that can take years to lift. Furthermore, intentional harm has the potential to destabilize an entire system. In societal structures, when intentional harm is not addressed, it sends a message that such behavior is tolerated or even rewarded. This can encourage others to adopt similar harmful behaviors, perpetuating a cycle of aggression and manipulation that undermines collective well-being. Communities where intentional harm goes unchecked are often filled with fear, resentment, and an underlying sense of injustice. People in these environments may become more distrustful of one another, less willing to collaborate, and more likely to adopt protective or defensive stances. The longer the harm persists, the more it erodes the social fabric, creating divisions that can be difficult to repair. As trust erodes, so too does the sense of shared purpose and mutual respect that holds society together. The psychological roots of aggression are deeply complex and multifaceted, stemming from an interplay of biological, emotional, social, and environmental factors. Aggression is not just an impulse. It is often a symptom of deeper unresolved psychological issues, some of which may have been formed early in life, while others may arise from current circumstances or life stressors. To understand aggression, we must delve into the underlying psychological mechanisms that drive it, as aggression is rarely a random or senseless act. It often arises from a perceived threat, an emotional wound, or an ingrained behavioral pattern that has developed over time. One of the foundational psychological roots of aggression is frustration. When an individual is thwarted in their goals or desires, whether in personal, professional, or social spheres, the resulting frustration can build over time. Frustration doesn't just pass by. When it is left unaddressed or unresolved, it can transform into anger and ultimately into aggression. The more intense and prolonged the frustration, the greater the potential for aggressive reactions. This is because the individual feels powerless in the face of their unmet needs or desires, and aggression becomes a means of asserting control or releasing pent-up emotional energy. Often the frustration is linked not only to external barriers, but also to an internal sense of inadequacy or failure, where aggression becomes a way to defend one's sense of self-worth. Another psychological root of aggression is learned behavior. From early childhood, individuals learn how to navigate the world and their relationships with others through observation, modeling, and experience. If a person grows up in an environment where aggression is regularly used as a means of coping with challenges, conflict, or emotional pain, they are more likely to adopt aggression as a coping mechanism themselves. Children who witness violent behavior, whether within the family or outside of it, may come to view aggression as a natural or effective way to assert dominance, resolve conflicts, or express themselves. This learned aggression can continue into adulthood, manifesting in both overt acts of violence and more subtle forms of emotional manipulation or passive-aggressive behavior. In some cases, aggression is rooted in low self-esteem or a fragile sense of self-worth. Individuals who feel inadequate or threatened may become more prone to lash out in order to protect themselves from feelings of vulnerability. This defensive aggression often stems from a deep fear of rejection or failure. By acting aggressively, the person attempts to mask their inner insecurity, compensating for their perceived lack of value by exerting control over others. In this way, aggression becomes a tool for maintaining a false sense of strength or superiority. For these individuals, the act of hurting others can momentarily alleviate their own feelings of powerlessness, though it rarely leads to lasting satisfaction or peace. Aggression is also closely linked to emotion regulation issues. Many individuals who exhibit aggressive behavior struggle with managing their emotions in a healthy way. Strong emotions like anger, jealousy, or anxiety can quickly spiral out of control when they are not properly processed or addressed. For some, aggression serves as an immediate outlet for intense emotions that they don't know how to manage. These individuals may find it difficult to express themselves verbally or to channel their emotions into productive outlets like problem solving or seeking support. Instead, aggression offers a quick but destructive release of tension, which can in turn reinforce the cycle of emotional dysregulation. Over time, the lack of effective emotional management can lead to habitual aggression, where the person resorts to anger and violence as their primary way of coping with discomfort. Social and environmental influences play a significant role in shaping aggression as well. In situations where individuals experience social isolation, perceived injustice, or lack of support, they may be more likely to resort to aggression as a response to their circumstances. Feeling excluded from social groups or denied access to resources can create a sense of alienation, making individuals more susceptible to aggressive behavior. In some cases, aggression is used as a way to gain social status or recognition. People who feel marginalized or oppressed may turn to aggression to assert their presence or demand attention, believing that aggression is the only means of being noticed or respected. This dynamic can be particularly prevalent in environments where inequality. Moreover, there is a growing body of research highlighting the role of biological factors in aggression. Neurobiological studies have shown that certain brain structures, such as the amygdala, are directly involved in the regulation of emotions like fear and aggression. Imbalances in brain chemistry, particularly in the areas associated with impulse control and emotional regulation, can make some individuals more predisposed to aggressive reactions. Hormonal imbalances, such as elevated levels of testosterone, have also been linked to increased aggression in some studies. While biology is not the sole determinant of aggressive behavior, it plays a significant role in shaping the way individuals respond to emotional stimuli and external threats. Additionally, genetic predispositions may influence how an individual processes emotions and reacts to perceived provocations. Finally, cognitive distortions can contribute to aggression. Certain thought patterns, such as black and white thinking, overgeneralization, or catastrophizing, can distort an individual's perception of events and interactions. These distorted thoughts may cause them to interpret minor slights or misunderstandings as personal attacks, thus provoking an aggressive response. For example, someone who tends to think in terms of absolutes, seeing everything as either good or bad, may perceive a neutral or ambiguous action as a direct challenge, leading to an aggressive confrontation. In these cases, aggression is often driven by the need to right perceived wrongs, or to assert dominance in situations where the threat is largely imagined. Understanding the psychological roots of aggression is essential in addressing it effectively, whether the aggression is born from frustration, learned behavior, insecurity, emotional dysregulation, or societal influences. Recognizing its sources enables us to approach the issue with empathy and a focus on long-term solutions. Without understanding the complexities of aggression, aggression's roots, it becomes too easy to dismiss aggressive individuals as simply bad or evil. But the reality is far more complicated. Responsibility and accountability are two fundamental concepts that shape not only our individual behavior, but also the functioning of society as a whole. These concepts are closely intertwined but distinct. Responsibility refers to the obligation we each have to manage our actions, decisions, and the impact they have on the world around us. Accountability, on the other hand, is the process by which we are held answerable for those actions and decisions, ensuring that there are consequences, either positive or negative, that reflect the choices we make. Together, responsibility and accountability form the backbone of ethical behavior, personal integrity, and social cohesion. At the core of responsibility is the recognition that every action we take has consequences, and we must bear the weight of those consequences. This understanding requires a level of self-awareness where we acknowledge that we are not merely passive actors in life, but active participants who shape our own futures and the experiences of those around us. Responsibility compels us to act with intention, to consider the effects of our behavior on others, and to take ownership of the impact our choices have on the world. It means recognizing when we've made mistakes, understanding where we've gone wrong, and having the courage to correct our course when necessary. Without this internal sense of responsibility, individuals can slip into a mindset of irresponsibility, where external circumstances or other people are blamed for their actions, and growth is stunted. Accountability is the counterpart to responsibility. While responsibility is about internal recognition and self-regulation, accountability is about external evaluation and ensuring that there is a system of checks and balances that holds individuals to their commitments. In a societal context, accountability is essential because it prevents the erosion of trust. When individuals or organizations are not held accountable for their actions, it undermines the foundation of fairness and justice that a functional society is built upon. For example, when someone harms another person, accountability ensures that they face appropriate consequences for their actions, whether those consequences come in the form of legal penalties, social consequences, or personal retribution. The threat of accountability helps deter irresponsible actions and encourages ethical decision-making, as people are more likely to act carefully when they know they will be held responsible for their choices. However, accountability is not always straightforward. It requires transparency, consistency, and the establishment of clear expectations for behavior. It demands that we set fair standards for what constitutes acceptable actions and define the consequences of failing to meet those standards. In a community, whether in a family, workplace, or society at large, accountability ensures that everyone is treated equitably and that actions are judged impartially. It holds everyone to the same standard, regardless of status or power, and fosters a sense of justice. Without accountability, there is no real motivation to act ethically or responsibly, because individuals may feel that they can act without consequence, leading to exploitation, harm, and chaos. Responsibility and accountability are not just about external judgments, but also about fostering a sense of self-respect and integrity. When we take responsibility for our actions, we create a personal ethic that guides our behavior and decisions. We are not merely following rules because we fear consequences. We are making choices that align with our values and beliefs about what is right and just. In this way, responsibility nurtures a moral compass, helping individuals to act with honor, regardless of the external pressure or scrutiny. Accountability in this sense becomes a natural extension of that self-respect, because when we hold ourselves accountable, we are honoring the integrity of our decisions and acknowledging the importance of their effects on others. Moreover, responsibility and accountability are vital in building trust in relationships. Trust is the cornerstone of any successful relationship. Whether it's between individuals, in teams, or in larger societal structures, when someone takes responsibility for their actions and is held accountable, they demonstrate reliability and dependability, qualities that are essential for trust to flourish. In personal relationships, accountability means owning up to mistakes, apologizing when necessary, and taking actions to prevent those mistakes from happening again. In a workplace or organizational context, accountability means that leaders and employees alike must answer for their actions and ensure that their work is in line with the values and objectives of the group. This mutual responsibility strengthens relationships, encourages open communication, and creates a shared sense of purpose. While responsibility and accountability are critical for maintaining social order and personal integrity, they also have a significant role in the development of character. The process of taking responsibility, facing the consequences of one's actions, and learning from those experiences is foundational to personal growth. It encourages a mindset of continuous improvement, where individuals seek to understand their flaws and actively work to address them. This commitment to growth, however, can only happen in an environment that values responsibility and accountability, where individuals feel safe enough to own their mistakes and learn from them without fear of unjust punishment or ridicule. It is also important to note that responsibility and accountability must be cultivated from an early age and reinforced consistently throughout one's life. In childhood, we learn the basic principles of responsibility: taking care of our possessions, completing tasks, and being aware of how our actions affect others. As we grow older, the complexity of responsibility expands to include more abstract concepts, such as moral duty, ethical decision-making, and the understanding of systemic consequences. Likewise, accountability must be taught, not as a tool for punishment, but as a means of personal growth and social harmony. When individuals are held accountable in fair and constructive ways, they are given the opportunity to correct their behavior, learn from their mistakes, and ultimately become better versions of themselves. Both responsibility and accountability must be balanced with compassion and understanding. While it is important to hold individuals accountable for their actions, it is equally essential to recognize the human capacity for change and growth. Accountability should not serve as a mechanism for punitive retribution alone, but as a pathway for learning and transformation. When individuals are supported in their efforts to take responsibility and are held accountable in ways that foster growth rather than shame, the result is a more constructive and compassionate society where individuals are empowered to make better choices moving forward. Personal strength and resilience are two of the most important qualities that define the ability of individuals to navigate the complexities of life. These qualities are not innate traits that some individuals are born with, but rather they are cultivated through experiences, choices, and challenges faced over time. The concept of personal strength involves the inner fortitude to overcome adversity, to stand firm in the face of difficulty, and to continue moving forward despite obstacles. Resilience, on the other hand, refers to the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to recover from hardship, and to emerge stronger and wiser as a result. These two qualities work hand in hand to allow people to not only survive difficult situations, but to grow and evolve because of them. At its core, personal strength is about mental fortitude, the ability to maintain clarity and focus when everything around you seems uncertain or overwhelming. It is the internal determination to press forward, even when the path is unclear or when the risks of failure loom large. Personal strength is built through experience as individuals face life's trials, confront their fears, and learn from each encounter. It is not about avoiding difficulty or being invulnerable to hardship. Rather, it is about embracing the struggle and using it as an opportunity to build endurance. In moments of deep struggle, personal strength may manifest as the ability to stay calm under pressure, to think critically, and to make decisions despite emotional turmoil. People with strong personal resolve do not let their circumstances dictate their actions. They control their response to those circumstances, and in doing so, they assert their own power over their lives. Resilience, on the other hand, is the capacity to recover quickly from challenges and to use setbacks as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. It is about adapting in the face of change and persevering despite repeated failures or difficulties. Resilience does not mean that a person is unaffected by adversity. It means that they are able to process the pain, learn from it, and continue moving forward. This ability to recover is often what separates those who stay stuck in difficult situations from those who transcend them. Resilient people understand that setbacks are a part of life, and they approach obstacles not with defeat, but with the mindset of figuring out a way to navigate through or around them. It's a mindset rooted in optimism, a belief that despite the current challenge, there is always a way forward, and that even in the darkest moments, there is something valuable to be learned. The development of personal strength and resilience begins with self-awareness. Understanding who we are, what we value, and where our limits lie is the first step in cultivating these traits. People who lack self-awareness may struggle when faced with adversity because they don't fully understand their own emotional responses or strengths. But when we take the time to reflect on our experiences, to understand how we react to challenges, and to identify areas where we can grow, we can begin to build the mental strength and resilience needed to weather the storms of life. Self-awareness also allows us to understand our personal values and what we stand for, providing a strong foundation for decision-making in difficult times. When we are clear on what is truly important to us, we are more likely to make choices that align with those values, even in the face of hardship. Additionally, emotional regulation plays a key role in personal strength and resilience. Emotions, particularly in difficult times, can be overwhelming and can cloud our judgment if we let them dictate our actions. The ability to manage these emotions, whether it's anger, fear, sadness, or frustration, without letting them take over, is a hallmark of both strength and resilience. Emotional regulation involves recognizing and accepting our emotions, but not allowing them to control our behavior. It's about maintaining a level of emotional balance, even when the external world feels chaotic. This emotional balance allows individuals to make decisions from a place of clarity rather than being driven by reactive impulses. Those with emotional regulation are better equipped to handle stress and avoid making hasty or regrettable choices in moments of pressure. Another essential component of personal strength and resilience is support systems. No one builds strength or resilience in isolation. The relationships we cultivate with others play a vital role in our ability to endure difficult times. A strong support system can provide encouragement, guidance, and perspective when we are struggling. Whether through friends, family, mentors, or even professional help, having a network of people who believe in us and our ability to overcome challenges can make all the difference. These relationships offer a sense of connection and solidarity, reminding us that we are not alone in our struggles. They also provide a sense of accountability, motivating us to keep pushing forward when we may be tempted to give up. At times, seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but rather a demonstration of the strength to recognize that we don't have to face everything by ourselves. Perseverance is another key element in cultivating both personal strength and resilience. Life is full of setbacks, and it is often not the initial challenge that defines our success, but how we respond to it. Resilient individuals are those who don't give up after the first or second failure. They understand that success is often built on a foundation of repeated attempts, and each failure is simply another opportunity to refine their approach, learn from their mistakes, and come closer to their goal. Perseverance is about maintaining effort and determination even when the end goal feels distant or uncertain. It requires patience and the belief that progress is being made even when visible results are not immediate. Over time, those who persevere build not only resilience but also a deeper sense of personal strength as they prove to themselves that they are capable of achieving what they set out to do. Furthermore, purpose is often at the heart of personal strength and resilience. Individuals who have a sense of purpose, a clear understanding of what they are working towards and why they are pursuing it, are better able to withstand the challenges that life throws their way. Purpose provides the motivation to keep going when the path becomes difficult or when obstacles seem insurmountable. People with a strong sense of purpose understand that challenges are part of the process, and their commitment to their greater goals allows them to persevere despite setbacks. Purpose serves as a guiding light, a constant reminder of why enduring hardship is worthwhile and how it contributes to something greater than the struggle itself. In addition to these internal qualities, adaptability is another critical aspect of both personal strength and resilience. Life is unpredictable, and being able to adjust to new circumstances, let go of rigid expectations, and find creative solutions to problems is an essential skill for building resilience. People who are adaptable are able to see opportunities in adversity rather than being paralyzed by fear or uncertainty. They are able to pivot and adjust their strategies when things don't go as planned, often discovering new pathways to success that they might not have considered before. Adaptability allows individuals to bounce back from setbacks more quickly and with greater ease because they are less focused on what went wrong and more focused on what can be done differently moving forward. Ultimately, personal strength and resilience are about the ability to face the challenges life presents, to endure hardships, and to continue growing in the process. They are not static qualities, but dynamic traits that evolve as we encounter new experiences, learn from them, and emerge stronger as a result. Forgiveness and moving forward are two intertwined concepts that, when understood and practiced properly, can profoundly change the course of an individual's life. They are not merely about letting go of grudges or erasing past wrongs, but about freeing oneself from the weight of unresolved pain, enabling healing and creating the space for new growth and possibility. The act of forgiveness is often viewed as a gift we give to others, but in reality, it is a gift we give to ourselves. It allows us to release the grip that past events have on our emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, and to shift from a place of victimhood to one of empowerment. Similarly, moving forward is the process of taking the lessons learned from past experiences, no matter how painful, and using them to propel ourselves into a future that is unburdened by resentment and hurt. At its essence, forgiveness is the deliberate choice to release feelings of anger, bitterness, and vengeance towards someone who has wronged us. It does not mean forgetting the wrong or excusing the behavior. It means recognizing the pain caused by the offense, accepting that it happened, and making the conscious decision to stop allowing it to control our emotional well-being. The power of forgiveness lies in its ability to break the cycle of negativity and to create the possibility for emotional healing. Holding on to anger or resentment towards someone can be corrosive. It takes up valuable emotional space and energy that could otherwise be used for positive growth. Forgiveness, therefore, is not just about the person who wronged us, but about reclaiming our own mental and emotional health. One of the common misconceptions about forgiveness is that it is a sign of weakness, that by forgiving we are somehow condoning the wrongdoer's actions or allowing them to escape responsibility. In reality, forgiveness is an act of strength and courage because it requires us to confront our hurt and choose to move beyond it. It is about taking control of our emotions and choosing peace over anger, understanding over bitterness. Forgiveness is not a passive act. It is an active and often difficult choice that demands personal growth and maturity. It requires us to move beyond the desire for retribution and to seek a higher road, one that leads to inner peace and emotional freedom. When we forgive, we refuse to let the actions of others dictate our emotional state, and we assert our right to peace and healing. Forgiveness does not necessarily mean reconciliation. In some cases, the person who wronged us may never be able to or willing to make amends. Forgiveness is about releasing the grip that the wrongdoing has on us, not about forcing ourselves to return to the same relationship or circumstances that caused the harm in the first place. Moving forward in these cases may involve creating boundaries that protect us from further harm while still offering ourselves the opportunity to heal. It is possible to forgive someone without ever reconciling with them, and doing so is a critical part of emotional well-being. Forgiveness is about finding peace within ourselves, regardless of whether or not the other person seeks it. Similarly, the concept of moving forward is rooted in the ability to accept what has happened, to process the emotions tied to it, and to decide that we will no longer allow the past to define our present or future. Moving forward is not about erasing the past or pretending that the hurt never occurred. It is about acknowledging that the past is a part of us, but does not have to dictate our actions, our relationships, or our mindset going forward. It is an intentional shift in perspective, one that chooses growth and possibility over stagnation and regret. Moving forward means no longer being stuck in the cycle of negative emotions or reactions that hold us in place. It means making a conscious decision to evolve, to change, and to move toward a future where we are not chained to the past but are free to create new experiences. The process of moving forward requires a growth mindset, which involves viewing challenges and setbacks as opportunities for development rather than as insurmountable obstacles. When we choose to move forward, we begin to see our experiences, even painful ones, as lessons that shape who we are. Each setback or difficulty, rather than defeating us, becomes an opportunity to build resilience, to deepen our understanding, and to refine our approach to life. This mindset allows us to cultivate a sense of agency and self-efficacy, knowing that we are capable of facing challenges and making decisions that lead to positive outcomes, even when things don't go as planned. A key element in both forgiveness and moving forward is the idea of self-compassion. We cannot truly forgive others or move forward if we do not first practice compassion toward ourselves. This means being kind and understanding with ourselves in the face of mistakes, both those we have made and those others have made at our expense. Self-compassion is the acknowledgement that we are all imperfect, that we all experience pain, and that we all deserve the opportunity to heal and grow. When we are compassionate with ourselves, we allow ourselves the grace to make mistakes and the space to learn from them. This inner kindness is a necessary foundation for forgiving others, as it reminds us that we too are deserving of forgiveness and growth. Another crucial aspect of forgiveness and moving forward is personal empowerment. Holding on to grudges or past pain can leave us feeling powerless, as if we are at the mercy of the actions of others. But when we forgive and choose to move forward, we take back our power. We recognize that while we cannot change the past, we have the ability to control how we respond to it and how it affects us moving forward. This shift in mindset allows us to take charge of our own lives, to set boundaries where needed, and to make choices that align with our values and desires rather than allowing past pain or resentment to dictate our decisions. By forgiving and moving forward, we choose to live in the present moment and take responsibility for the direction our lives are heading rather than remaining trapped in the past. In many cases, the act of forgiving others is part of a larger process of personal growth that involves redefining who we are in relation to our experiences. It is about understanding that we are more than the pain that others have caused us, and that we are capable of evolving beyond our past traumas. This evolution requires both the willingness to let go of old narratives that keep us stuck and the courage to embrace new possibilities. It means accepting that we cannot change the actions of others, but that we have the power to choose how we let those actions impact our lives moving forward. This process often involves healing from the emotional wounds inflicted by others, which can take time and requires patience, self-care, and support. Moving forward is about choosing to heal rather than holding on to old grudges that only serve to perpetuate our own suffering. Forgiveness and moving forward are not linear processes. They are ongoing and dynamic. It's important to recognize that there may be moments where we feel as though we have forgiven, only to experience a resurgence of anger or pain at a later time. This is a natural part of the healing process, and it does not mean that we have failed or that we are incapable of moving forward. Healing is rarely a straightforward journey, and it requires a combination of patience, self-awareness, and the willingness to continue growing even when it feels difficult.